Okay.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Goodfellas is pretty good.
You never
Scarface
seen that one
is
either.
pretty good. Scarface is
Dude.
pretty good.
A lot of people, including this guy, still think Goodfellas is the best mob movie ever.
Really? Okay.
In my opinion, there's a lot of people that won't agree with me. I can already tell he doesn't. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people say The Godfather.
Yeah.
And they're awesome. They are. I don't know. Something about Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta, they just killed it.
I mean,
Justin's favorite mob movie is The Sandlot.
I thought it was Mighty Ducks. They mobbed the hockey puck.
Mighty Ducks is the best hockey movie for sure, without a doubt.
They mobbed the hockey puck. That's hilarious.
Yes.
Mighty Ducks 2 when he does the knuckle puck. Yeah, definitely.
The knuckle puck. V formation. I hate that movie.
The flying V, first of all. But yeah. Come on, cake eater.
Let's get in the running V.
Oh God. Okay, let's get this show started.
Let's get it rolling.
Y'all are torturing me now, making fun of Mighty Ducks. Okay. TPS Reports, the Pool Series podcast. We're back. I feel like it's been forever. And as always, Justin Clark, Brandon Mullis, Pat Dixon from a undisclosed location, although it looks like he's in his living room this time. Is that where you're at, Pat?
Yeah, I don't know if you know what undisclosed means, but yeah,
no, not really. It's more than 2 syllables. I'm out. Guys, we had a good event, man. Our second event of August, first points event of August, points event number 6. We're starting the second half of the season now. Things are getting exciting as we only do 10 points events. This was number 6. August 24th, we're at Irish Q. Again, back-to-back events up there. 32-player field, paid out $3,220. Played 8-ball on the non-foots, races to 3. And boy, oh boy, is that fun. Pat, you weren't there, but did you like the idea of playing on the 9-foot versus the 7-foot, which we did last time previous?
Yeah, that's why I was extra pissed that I couldn't be there. It's because we were going back to the 9-foots and not getting kicked off. So yeah, I was hoping to be able to play 8-ball on some 9-foots in that place.
Yeah, I think 8-ball it can be more fun on the 9-footers for sure. Let me go ahead and thank our sponsors. First of all, we had Deadstroke Media, who is Pat, obviously, does great work. Y'all definitely get in touch with him to run some streams. A lot of people have been asking about him. Inkwell Design, JC makes another awesome trophy for us that was taken home by the winner. John Patera at Remax Metro Realty sadly could not join us this time. Paul Harrison Custom Cues, Portico Licensed General Contractors, Crown Pest Control, Pool Doctors, Furniture Outlet and Consignment, and Premier Imports of Charlotte, Ricky Carcamo, who did play. Sadly, he went 2 and out. Wasn't his day, but this was a fun tournament. Brandon, you were there.
Yes, I was.
What's your overall thoughts on the tournament?
Oh my gosh, this was one of the absolute best coin flip worthy, high skill set. Just, every single shot mattered, and my results are proof of that. So, I mean, anytime you have 8-ball in this regard with this group of players, it's always fireworks. I love it.
I definitely think I like this tournament a lot because I felt like we had a lot more upsets than what we normally do, a lot more surprises at the top. And that's kind of what the pool series shoots for, honestly. Like, we want different winners. We want different people to pull it out at the end. Pat, you were kind of busy getting married that day. Yeah. But did you get to watch? Did you get to watch any in between saying I do and eating the cake or whatever y'all did?
Yeah, I was asked a question on the stand and replied with, "Huh? What? What's that?" He said, "Do you take?" No, I'm just kidding. No, I like chimed in like once an hour, just real quick to make sure that the audio was still on. I got this much watch time. I got that much of it.
That's fine, dude. We definitely missed you for sure. And I know I did bother you one time because you are the man that knows how to solve the problems. And big shout out to you. Hopefully the wife wasn't mad when I called and took you away for a second.
She was a crying, sniveling mess upstairs. She had no idea what was going on. It was perfect.
Yeah, that's a 5-year veteran move, and you weren't even married for 5 minutes. Beautiful.
Perfect. I'm the best. Well, we definitely wish you the best, and hopefully we get invited next time you get married. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was just moms and dads, so you miss nothing. Trust me.
That's okay because I hate weddings and I probably would not have went anyways.
What are we talking about? Okay.
All right, so let's get back on topic here. Let's talk about our top 8, the top 8 money finishers, the guys that walked home with a little bit of cash. Some made a lot more than others. We'll start off with 7th and 8th place as always, and this right here is the 2 best players that we have had 7th and 8th all year long,
For sure.
at least in the points events. I'm just talking the points events. So out of 6 events, this is the strongest 7th and 8th place that we have had. Clayton Davis, Renald Bott finished in 7th and 8th. Brandon, what's your thoughts on their tournament, man? I mean, what kind of surprise is it that they were at the bottom of the money list?
I mean, both of them were actually a ball away from not even being near the money. Clay Davis was one mistake away from going 2 and out. That's how tough this tournament was. Now, Clay Davis is a top 3-4 player in this tournament in general, but he had a rough day getting to 7th and 8th. So did Renald. So with all that being said, I mean, surprising, yes, but with the way the day went, not that surprised. You know, such a tough event. But yeah, definitely. I mean, if those 2 were getting 7th and 8th in your tourney, then good, night of living.
Yeah, I think the balls were rolling weird for everybody that day. Renald once again lost second round, and honestly, I thought as the day was going on, he was going to do what he did in our last tournament, which is roll all the way through and win. Because last tournament he lost second round and made it all the way through to the finish. This time he lost second round. Comes up a little short though. Pat, just you weren't there, but just what's your thoughts on Clay and Renald finishing 7th, 8th?
For the first time, I looked at the standings to see what happened. And I saw Clay and Renald at 7th and 8th. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And then I went through the list and I was like, oh, Jason Blackwell happened.
Yeah. Jason
So no,
is
that's crazy.
Jason is a phenomenal player that does not get talked about enough now. He's cashed. I think this is the 3rd time he's cashed this year in our events. He had a 2nd place finish or a 3rd place finish in one. He's really starting to make a name for himself, and that brings us to the 5th and 6th place finishers, which was Jason Blackwell and Eddie Little. The legend Eddie once again in the money, Jason once again in the money. These 2 guys are really making a living in the money in the pool series. Pat, I mean, you just told us kind of what you thought about Jason, but what did you think about Eddie as well?
I'm just really upset I didn't get a chance to put that second L on Eddie Little. Hopefully I'll
Eddie
get the
missed
chance
you.
this upcoming Saturday.
I thought, man,
It's always great to see him up there, in the money. So
for sure. And I thought, I honestly thought Eddie started off first match on our stream table. I thought after he got lucky to pull that one off, that he was going to breeze through this tournament. I thought that was going to kind of push him through and just kind of be that where it was like, hey, I got this win that I maybe should not have got, and now I'm going to run through the tournament. Brandon, what's your thoughts on Eddie and Jason?
Jason Blackwell is well on his way to being a blind bid in every tourney.
Yeah.
He's playing that good. He's playing that strong, super consistent. I mean, the guy's game has just elevated so much in the last couple of years. Eddie, you're no shocker. You're really not. I mean, I can pretty much bank on you being in the money 19 out of 20 tournaments you play in. You had a great day. Obviously, some things you would have loved to have changed, but 5th, 6th in this field, still strong. Really, really strong.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely 5th, 6th in this field is very good because there are some good players that we're about to get to, which includes the 4th place finisher who cashes once again. This guy's lived near the money. He's either been one out of the money or in the money, I believe, in every points event of the year. And I think maybe he did definitely cash in our big 30th anniversary tournament, Smoking Q, as well, and cash in the One Pocket event. And that's Jeff Abernathy with a 4th place finish. I mean, that guy, he's just hard to get rid of, man. So, Brandon, what was your thoughts on Jeff's tournament?
It's just a stayer. I mean, the guy is going to play the same, honestly, at 12 o'clock P and 12 o'clock AM. To see, I mean, at one point I thought he was going to win it. I thought he was playing some great pool. He was playing some fearless pool. He just ran into a couple of players that wanted it a little bit more. I don't want to say wanted it. I think that's a ridiculous phrase. Everybody wants it. He ran into 1 or 2 players that got that one extra roll that made the difference. So great tourney for Jeff all around, though.
And you're our time management guy. What time were we done with this tournament? Usually,
I do. It was pretty quick. I mean, I want to say 12:30.
I think it was earlier.
It might have actually been earlier than that.
I'm pretty sure it was definitely earlier than that. It was because I was at Waffle House by 12:30.
Oh no, it was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, folks. It was around 10:30 to 11. Now that
There
I
you
think
go.
about
Okay.
it, yeah, it went pretty quick.
That sounds better. Pat, what do you think about seeing Jeff Abernathy's name up there in fourth place?
Oh, Brandon took the words right out of my mouth. He's probably one of the most consistent players that we have in the pool series tournaments. How he plays in the afternoon is how he's going to play at 4 o'clock in the morning for the most part. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always a shock if he's not out of the money. I know we always talk about like, hey, who are your 2 or 3 players? If you're looking at the list that you're surprised that didn't make it, if his name is outside of that top 8, he's always one because I feel like he should make the money just about every time. And if he doesn't, it just speaks to how strong the field is that day.
Absolutely. It shocks me that he's not ever a blind bid, hardly ever in our Calcuttas.
Yeah.
He only lost to one guy in this tournament, by the way. He lost to him twice. He lost Hill the first time, then he lost 3-1 the second time. And that person's the third place finisher. Javier Oliu. Did I say that correctly?
Close enough.
It's pretty good. I think he'll let you pass with that. That's pretty good.
Okay, he'll let me pass. Javier, this is his best finish, and it's only he cashed last time. Now he cashed again and got higher. I think this guy might be trying to make a run here to getting a trophy before the year's over, and I'd love to see it. Javier, super nice guy, plays 8-ball phenomenally.
Yes.
That's definitely his go-to game, I feel like, at this point. And it's been fun to watch him get better and improve because the first couple of pool series events, he was out pretty early, and now he's always there near the money or in the money. Pat, what are your thoughts on Javier and how he's been doing?
You brought up an interesting point. Javier, his game is 8-ball. He is a shot maker. Number one. It's not that he can't move the rock around or anything like that. He definitely has some decent cue ball control, but he's a shot maker more than anything. And he has a higher gear than I think most people realize. I think his far goes somewhere right around like a low 600, 610 or something like that. 612 is what it is. But his high gear is closer to about like a 650, 675 if he's feeling it and he's got an open look at the table. So I'm happy for him, man. I know I ran into him maybe 2 tournaments ago, and it was pretty quick. So yeah, no, very nice to see him in the money. Hopefully, we'll see him in the money a lot more. Hopefully, he can stay at this kind of level more consistently. We can pay him some more money.
Yeah, it's definitely getting to a point where I think it's going to be more of a shock that he's not in the money than when he is in the money. Brandon, you were there all day. What did you think about Javier and how he played?
Well, I mean, one thing I could say about Javier is he plays all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't just pick up a cue once, twice a week. He's at tournaments left and right. I don't know what his action game is like, but I know he's, always getting into something. Practices a lot, plays the game well. Happy as I could be for him. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He's one of the nicest, most humble guys you'll ever meet. So, good for him. He ran into a couple of buzzsaws at the end, but that's okay. He played some great pool.
Yeah,
all day long.
Yeah, I think out of all the people I've named so far that have cashed, he probably plays more pool than all of them. The dude seems to be playing every night somewhere, which good for him, man. And a lot of times his wife or girlfriend, I'm not sure if they're married or not, but she seems to be there supporting him a lot of times. So I love to see that. Let's move on to our second place finisher, a guy who back-to-back finals appearances in our points events, back-to-back finals at Irish Q, back-to-back finals in 8-ball. That's Hunter White getting another second place finish, really solidifying himself as one of the best players on the pool series. It's kind of a surprise when he loses, honestly. And once again, he only lost to one player, and that's the guy that won the tournament. But Hunter White with the second place. I mean, Brandon, what's your thoughts on Hunter's tournament?
So when he lost in the first 8-ball at Irish Q, the one on the bar boxes, that was a little bit shocking to me, even though I predicted Ronaldo to win that. This time, I think he lost to the better player. He lost to the guy who was just, unstoppable. But no, Hunter is super consistent. He's got a confidence factor that can't be touched. Like the guy knows when he goes out there, he has a chance to beat anybody. And, when his mind is right and he's feeling right, he is one of the absolute toughest guys to beat. So, it's not the result he wanted, but Hunter getting second place is really, really strong.
Absolutely. Pat, what's your thoughts on Hunter, man?
Oh, yeah, no, Brandon, you hit the nail on the head. I was just adding in there, too. Like, when he's motivated, when he wants to, he's a dangerous guy. I honestly think the only 2 players who really could have beaten Hunter today are in first place and 8th place. It's Runal and it's Mike Davis. If Runal is on, he's in his high gear. I can bet on him to not all the time, but I can probably put some money on him and feel confident that he can beat Hunter. And then Mike Davis, I think I'm at the point now where I don't care what the game is, what tables we're playing on, who's house rat. I'm betting on Mike Davis. If Mike Davis is in the field, I hope Rico doesn't show up so I can spend my little daycare money on the Calcutta and buy him blind. But I'm betting on Mike to win everything at this point.
I think with Hunter, maybe we had it backwards. We thought maybe he was going to just kind of steal the tournament on the bar box because I consider him a bar box player. And it was kind of a surprise that Ronald beat him in the finals, but maybe Hunter plays 8-ball better on the big tables. Maybe he should have been favored in this tournament more so than on the bar box tournament, which is kind of flip flop of what maybe we thought. I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes. Maybe next time we do 8-ball, because we do got one more 8-ball event this year, so we'll see how he does in that one. And so first place finisher once again, his second points win of the year. I think he's played in 3 points events, 2 wins and a third. This guy's unstoppable. This guy is unbelievable. Mosconi Mike Davis. He won our one pocket event as well. So he's literally won back-to-back events. Just one wasn't a points event. The guy's got a third place, a first place, and a first place. He's on a roll. It's been fun to watch. Pat, you kind of already gave us your thoughts on Mike. So let's cut over to Brandon. Brandon, what do you think, man?
Is there anything left to really say?
No.
I mean, I mean, obviously, I have plenty to say. Mike Davis, you're just a great player. I mean, you're the best player in our field.
Yeah.
I mean, you are consistently, and you're a pleasure to watch. I mean, everything about your game. I love how unique your game is, and yet that ball finds the pocket every single time. The thing I love the most is the recognition that the pool series is getting from AZ Billiards because of Mike Davis.
Yeah.
Which is huge for this whole tournament series. So couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He's got a great support system with Katie. When you have that, it helps you go a very long way in tournaments. So Mike, congrats again. Look forward to probably see you hoist many, many more trophies. Keep doing your thing, brother. You deserve every dollar you're getting.
I think you look at this tournament, though, really, I mean, he plays Ronald second round and wins 3-1. Okay, that's, a tough match for sure. But he had 2 other matches, I think, that he very easily could have lost. And his opponents had chances, which we'll kind of get into later. So I think it just shows you that he can persevere and fight through. He's not just going to, I got a tough match. I thought I was going to win easily. I got a tough match. I'm going to roll over and lose now. The guy's a fighter, and it's definitely fun to watch him. And he definitely does bring a lot of viewers to the pool series. So,
if I may, I actually think that when you're the best player and everybody wants to beat you, and you still find a way to win every match, you can't put a measuring stick on that. That's unbelievable. Because you got a bunch of very capable players in this tourney who can beat you in a race to 3. And yet you still keep coming out on top every single time.
Yeah, to win when you're supposed to win is tough, Pat.
Very much so.
Sometimes you have those top players who get into a field. They know they're the top player, to your point, Brandon, but it's like they lose their motivation. You know what I mean? It's like they got to find something. It reminds me of when the 2012 team, 2008 men's basketball team went out there and they were going to go play against, I think it was Argentina. And they had all those reports saying how Manu Ginobili was like the second best guard behind Kobe Bryant in the NBA, second best guard in the world. So Dwayne Wade, everybody was like, okay, that's who we're about to go kill out there. He ends up getting hurt. So now they're like, all right, what now? Kind of deflated, gives Argentina a chance to come back. Mike doesn't need that. Mike plays Javier. If Mike plays Runal, if Mike plays Hunter White, if he plays me, it's the same Mike. Like we're all getting the same guy that wants to win every time, make every shot, get perfect position every time,
Throw one more thing out there. Something that D'Angelo Williams, famous Carolina Panthers running back, and then played a couple seasons for the Steelers. He said this exact phrase: every single thing I did on that field, I did it for the money. Mike Davis, you have obviously nothing to prove to anybody, to anything. Everybody wants to beat you because they want to tell their buddies, I beat Mike Davis. And yet you still come back and you're doing it for the money. So keep going, keep moving.
That's why we all do it. That's why I get out of bed in the mornings for money. I don't know
me
about
both.
y'all.
Same here.
So yeah, that was our top 8, man. That was a pretty strong top 8, top quarter of the field, top money getters. Just to read them off again: Mike Davis, Hunter White, Javier Oliu, Jeff Abernathy, Eddie Little, and Jason Blackwell, Clay Davis, and Ronald Bott. That's a very strong top 8. And then there were some strong players that did not cash in this tournament, which tells you how tough of a field it was. And here's 3 guys that I was kind of surprised that did not cash. I don't know who you would take out of that top 8. No idea who you would take out. I don't know if you can take any of those 8 out. But if you did, here's 3 that I would replace him with. Hank Powell, who finished 17th, which is a shocker that he finished that low, not even in the top half. Jacob Brooks, who finished 13th, his first time playing in the pool series points event. So congrats to Jacob for finally being on the board. And Larry Hughes for finishing 9th place, because the other time that he played at Irish Q8 ball, he got 4th place, I believe, or 3rd place maybe. So those 3 guys, I'm very shocked, did not cash in this event. Pat, what do you think, man? Is my list good? You got anybody else that you were kind of surprised about?
Your list sucks, man. Retire. No, I'm just kidding. Your list is great. I would say, I would say Hank Powell for sure. I agree with number 1.
Hank had a very tough draw. He lost to Hunter White and then Clay Davis.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, at Irish Q, it could go either way with those 2 with Hank.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think both those are toss-ups.
I would still give the edge to both of those other guys. I think less of an edge him versus Clay, but more of an edge him versus Hunter towards the other side. But he still is extremely capable of beating both of those guys. But Hank Powell, number 1, I would say is a shocker to not make it into the money. I would honestly say Rico Gonzalez as well, at least not getting into 8th place.
Finished
and
17th.
Then 3rd, yeah, what did he finish?
17th.
1724.
Yep.
And then I would say damn to your point, just for the sake of him, him getting like 4th or 3rd place or whatever it was that last time he was there, playing in there. No, a good list. The only thing I would change is I'd probably say Rico.
Yeah, Rico's a good one too. Rico did cash at Irish Q before, and he's cashed in a few pool series events also. Brandon, what do you think, man? Is there anybody that we haven't mentioned that we should?
You pretty much nailed the 3 I was going to mention. I don't have anything to add on to it. I was a little surprised that especially Hank going 17th through 24th, but the bracket was brutal for him.
Oh, yeah.
A little shocked at Jacob Brooks. I thought Jacob would have been, kind of a rainmaker. I would have thought he could have gotten the money. He has a great game, very consistent game.
Absolutely.
But Larry, yeah. I mean, if I had to pick, I would probably put Jacob at the bottom of those 3.
Yeah.
Out of those 3 players, but all 3 of them very capable. And this tournament was very weird.
Yeah, and I mean,
very, very weird.
And Larry again losing to Hunter White and Ronald Bott, so it's not like, I think he's supposed to lose both those. It's not like he really lost any surprises. So, I mean, it's a tough field for sure. And one guy that knows exactly how tough this field is you, Brandon.
Oh, wow.
We're going to go ahead and talk about your tournament as you finished 25th place.
Yes, I did.
You lost to Jeff. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. You lost to Jeff Abernathy 2-3, and then you lost to Clayton Davis 2-3. Both
Clayton
Davis.
Oh,
yeah.
him? Yeah.
So you lost both matchups. Hill. Just a brutal way to go up to Irish Q. Man, I gotta say though, sitting there watching you front and center, as your first match was on the stream table, and I even watched a lot of your second match against Clay. You were playing really good, and this was actually probably almost the best I've seen you play in a pool series event. And it's such a shame that you had to play those 2 guys, because I feel like the way you were playing, you were good enough to get to the top 8, but sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles, and you just
one mistake against Jeff.
Yeah.
One mistake against Clay. Here's my favorite part of the whole thing. Y'all ready for this? I go 2 and out, and my Fargo went up 3 points.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That can happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you play 2 670 Fargos and you take them both to the hill, and it's like I was saying to a few other people, it was the most frustrating way to play a tournament. When you actually play very well, you do what you're supposed to do, and you still go 2 and out, but that's how brutal this tournament is. That's how brutal this tournament was. And yeah, I was sad about it. I was upset about it, especially making pivotal mistakes when it was time. But You know, it happens to every player. I'm not upset about it. Not anymore. I was upset for about 5 minutes, you know, because they both should have lost. Well, no, they both could have lost. Better way to put it. But overall, my level of play was fine.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay with it.
Like I said, I thought you played really good. Pat, what do you think? You weren't there, but just kind of seeing the scores and seeing what happened. What's your thoughts?
Uh, I would say that there was actually two matches now that I remember that I watched a lot of. One of them was Eddie Little playing against Joey Lowe. He almost lost. He could have lost that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then the other
Yeah,
one
sure.
was Brandon playing against Jeff Abernathy. And I thought the exact same thing. I didn't see anywhere where Brandon was making mistakes or missing shots that he shouldn't have missed. It was just Jeff was just playing at another level. Maybe got a roll here or there, play some good defense as well to kind of hem you up, but there's really like there wasn't a lot of wrong, you know what I mean? That you did.
Mm.
You just ran into, like you said, two high set 670 Fargo players and you took them to the hill,
A
you
shot
know?
wasn't missed in the Jeff match until the fourth game.
There you go.
Other than the break.
I mean, come on.
I break dry, he runs out. He breaks and scratches, I run out. I break
Right.
dry, he runs out. And then the fourth game, he actually made a serious mistake and scratched, and I was able to get out and then actually break and make a ball in the fifth game, make a couple of shots. I set myself up on a semi-difficult 3 ball. I wish I'd have got better position on it, but shot it and miss. And, well, when you play against guys like that, you cannot give them an opening, and they took it and they got out.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you played this tournament compared to your last tournament, you played 10 times better. I feel like. And,
compared to the bar box
yeah,
event?
Yeah. So I definitely think just, carry that momentum in the next tournament and, you'll ride it pretty far. I feel like, let's get into, to my tournament, 13th place finish. It went like this: beat Dan Mooney 3-1, lost to Larry Hughes 3-1, beat Kevin Candido 3-2, and then lost to Clayton Davis 3-0. Pat, just what's your thoughts on, looking at that and, did I finish where I should have? What do you think?
Why don't you practice some more? Huh?
I
Why
don't
don't you
know
set some
what does
balls
that word
up?
what does that word mean?
Exactly. Do some drills,
We
guy.
talking
No,
practice?
You need to start playing league again, Justin. Maybe it'll help you.
I'm gonna hit show's
you
over.
need to
Show's
sign
over.
up.
Thank you.
You need to sign up for Brandon. That was fantastic. That's the opening. No, I think you finished probably right where you should have finished. Well, I might take that back. You probably should have finished higher than this because you should beat Dan Mooney. I think Dan is definitely good enough to get a game off of you, but I think that score is pretty accurate. Um, I think you're supposed to beat Larry Hughes like 6 or 7 out of 10 times. This is probably his 3 or 4 that he gets on you. I think you're supposed to beat Candido, and it's always a toss up between you and Clay. So I would have to ask, like, literal, like, what happened that you went down 0-3? Like, that's surprising to me. The score, you know what I mean?
I draw broke my one time I got to break.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it. But I think you winning against Damn. I don't know who that puts you in front of outside of Candido, but I still think that maybe rather than 13th or 16th, I always think that you should be.
I would have played Hunter White next if I beat Larry.
Okay, then that might not have went your way. But no, I mean 13, 16, okay. The field is just getting tougher, man.
Oh yeah.
The fields get tougher little by little. Sometimes we have a big jump. Like I feel like we had a big jump in the level of players in our tournaments, like maybe 2 tournaments ago. Like it just skyrocketed sometime right after the Smoke and Q 30th anniversary. It just went up after that. And it's kind of stayed there, which is really nice. But I think for you, man, you're a player that I always expect to be at least 7th, 8th, 5th, 6th, something like that, regardless of the field. I think you just have that kind of skill. So yeah, maybe a couple spots above there, but I mean, for you to get 13th and 16th in this field, if I'm you, I'm not like, oh shucks, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, definitely was not upset about it. And me and Larry have played so many times that it's not gonna upset me if I lose to him because I know what he's capable of. And honestly, this match was probably the best match he's played against me in a very long time. He did not make a single mistake. It really just came down to me draw breaking one rack and him running out. That was the match. I mean, if I make a ball, I get out. It's hill. Instead, I draw break he runs out 3-1. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to lose to Larry. I'm happy to lose to anybody, really. I mean, I like everybody that plays in our tournament, so it never upsets me too much if I lose, especially if I try my hardest, which I did. So, Brandon, what do you think about my tournament?
Well, you had a quiet tournament. I forgot you were even in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see you on the stream, and I really didn't pay much to your matches because when I wasn't playing, I was trying to call matches, or the U.S. Open Finals was also on. That had a lot to do with it. But I also want to go back to the 3 players that you say you're surprised didn't make the field. You got to put your name in that.
Yeah.
Or didn't make the money. You got to put your name in that.
I try not to.
Well, then I'll do it for you because we all know that it's true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm like I said, you losing to Larry is, that's one thing. Losing to Clay, okay. But losing to Larry, that's about a 55-60% you're favored there. So,
I agree.
But it's not a bad loss. Larry's a great player, especially when he's on.
Yeah, I put myself at probably about a 61-62% chance to win against him in that race.
And
but that's not short races. Anything can happen.
So a lot of people don't know this, but Kevin Candido is a good player.
Absolutely, 100%.
He's a very good player. So for him to take you to the hill, I'm really not surprised at all to see that. And I'm obviously don't know how that match, got to that point, but you winning that's still a good win. So obviously you have to play well to beat him.
Yeah, he left himself weird on the 8-ball hill, and had a chance to win. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it was one of those where it was like, I knew as he was running out, it was like, I think he's going to end up with a horrible shot on this 8-ball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened. And, he missed it and I ran out. And it was kind of like, if I was him, I probably would have played safe at some point instead of trying to run out. But that's just, if y'all had seen the table, it's just, to me, it works better sometimes to play safe in 8-ball instead of trying to run out, because you're going to end up with a tough shot on either the ball before the 8 or the 8. And those are the last 2 balls that you don't want to mess up on. Like, you'd rather mess up early in the rack and 8-ball. That way there's a bunch of balls left. And that hill rack, it was just kind of, he just started running out, and it was like, okay, well, there's no way I don't think that he can get out from here without having to make a crazy shot at some point. And it was on the 8-ball and he missed it, and I ran out.
That's how this works.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Let's move on to the matches that were on the stream. We had some good matches. We had 13, the lucky number, Taylor Swift's lucky number. We had 13 matches on the stream table. Well, I don't know why y'all, come on, man. Like, y'all didn't want to go to the Eras tour. Come on. Sorry.
Okay, you got me.
It's football season. I got to talk about Taylor Swift now. It's football season. Come on. She'll be at all the games soon. Her first game's Thursday night.
Yes.
Just saying. Yeah.
Every week it gets harder.
She's playing the Ravens. I think she'll be 1-0.
I just want to watch.
Yeah. I'm just driving Pat crazy right now. Yeah.
Every week this gets harder.
All right, guys. So let's talk about our stream matches here. We had 13, and we had, I feel like every match was good this time, honestly. I don't think there was a lesser caliber match on the stream. And that started in the first round where we had 2 matchups. We had Eddie Little beating Joey Lowe 3-1. And then we had Jeff Abernathy beating Brandon Mullis 3-2. Both matches were really good. Joey had a chance to take Eddie to the hill. Joey actually probably should have won that match if you go back and rewatch it. And then Jeff and Brandon was almost a perfectly played match. I enjoyed watching both of those. I enjoyed rewatching both of those since we had the tournament. Pat, what's your thoughts on those 2? Even if you didn't get to watch, just kind of seeing the scores, what's your thoughts?
Only 2 matches I got to watch all night for the most part. I was coming in and out of both of those. And I like how do you want to say, like, they were polar opposites of each other, where one guy survived a match. You know what I mean? Eddie Little survived that match against Joey Lowe. Joey definitely had a chance to absolutely take that. There was a couple of missed shots at the end. I feel like he had an opportunity as well to just kind of run out, and then he got down to the 8. I think he smoked an 8 one time. But then in your match, Brandon, just like Justin said, it was like perfectly played. Like, nobody was playing bad. It was just, how did the ball roll? Did someone actually make a mistake here? And the other person, you were going to capitalize on his, and he was capitalizing on yours. And it just happened that you made one more than he did, So no, both of those are great. If you haven't had a chance to go watch those, go back and watch those. Hopefully we can get those episodes up super quick this week as well.
I can tell you, Here's what Brandon's probably going to say about his match with Jeff. He's going to say, you know, this is like that 6-10 matchup in the first round of the NCAA tournament where the 10 seed almost pulls it out and somehow the 6 seed still walks away with the win. Brandon, am I correct? Is that about how you're going to describe it?
No, 12-5.
No, there you go. I was kind of giving you a little more credit, but okay, 12-5.
I mean, yeah, Jeff. I mean, Jeff on paper, Jeff's supposed to beat me every time, but I mean, out of the 20 to 30 times I've played him, I think I've beaten him maybe 5 or 6 times. So I mean, I know I can. I mean, I know I can play with all these guys, you know, in a tournament. I'll say, and you know, that's just what it was. I mean, and like I said, was upset about it, but at the same time, I was happy about it because there's a lot of people that wouldn't have hung with him. I mean, Jeff played perfect too. So, I mean, for myself to sit here and say that I was really in the same exact class with him, then, you know, I can go with it. You know, this was a 7 seed hitting the game winner over the 10 seed with 2 seconds left.
There you go. Yeah.
You just got to live with it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You know, so, but yeah, that pretty much summed it up. Right in our words.
I think that's a great first round. Great way to get the day started. Second round, I feel like we had 3 matches on the stream. Second round, I feel like each match kind of had its own little storyline here, and I think that had intrigued all 3 matchups. First of all, you had Eddie Little beating Alan Profit 3-0. Last time they played, Alan beat him, so a little revenge there. And then you had Hunter White beating Hank Powell 3-2. 2 of the favorites in the tournament going head-to-head in the second round. Always must-see television. And then the third matchup, 2 guys that I think are viewed as APA players in the area, 2 guys that don't really get much recognition in the pool series, maybe because they don't play as much, but Nate Frink beating Jacob Brooks 3-1. I think all 3 of those matches in their own way were very good. Even if you don't look at the scores, I think they were just all 3 full of intrigue. Brandon, what's your thoughts on those second-round matchups, man?
I'm going to go ahead and give this to Nate Frink. Because, I mean, listen, I think Nate has a good game, and he's getting better.
Well, he is too good for the APA now.
Is he too good for the APA now?
I mean, they kicked him out because he's too good. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
He got kicked out in Vegas.
Yeah.
I did hear – I heard they got kicked out, but I didn't hear the reason.
He went from a 5 to
Skilled
a 7.
up.
So you can't go 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But either way,
bagging Nate.
Hey,
Nate was the best mob on my team ever.
In that case, they have about 500 players they should kick out of Vegas APA.
Yeah.
All the more reason you should come back. You can't go up or down.
I'd like to go to 8 Ball Express where I was like a 5 or a 6.
However, Nate, your
not
game
be
is
getting-
obviously getting better, and the APA says so. To take down Jacob Brooks that way, that's strong.
Yeah.
That is very strong. Eddie Little, I'm only going to give you credit for your match because of the storyline behind it. I mean, he's supposed to win that 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
He really is. And, you know, revenge is a dish best served cold, and that's exactly what he gave Alan Profit. But, I mean, one of the best matches of the whole day might have been Hunter and Hank.
Oh, agreed.
In the second round. I mean, that match was played better than mine and Jeff's match was.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's just, you know, no discredit to Hank. He just ran to a guy who was just got that extra shot and got that extra roll. But that was probably the best played match on the stream.
Yeah, you're right. That was probably maybe the best played match. Pat, what's your thoughts on those 3 matches, man? I know you didn't get to see them really, but just looking at the scores and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like one person won and one person lost in all 3 matches, and it was intriguing for me to find that out. I like
your analysis there.
Grade A, wasn't wrong, was I? I also want to go back and really watch that Alvin Profit versus Little match because I hate I missed it live because of the history of it. Allen has beaten this guy, 2 times?
Yeah.
2 of the last 3 times, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I wish I could have just been a fly on that wall looking at Eddie's face while he was shooting every shot. I wanted to be there for that. And I'm also really pissed off that I missed Hank Powell and Hunter White so early as well.
Yeah.
That was a great match. Yeah. So no, those are going to be some fun ones to go back and watch as I fall asleep tonight.
Absolutely. I like that idea for sure. I'll probably fall asleep watching one of these as well. We move on to the third round now, which is final 8 of the winner's side. We had 2 matchups. And once again, I feel like both matchups were better than advertised, I feel like. and you had Eddie Little beating Barry McDonald 3-2. Barry is right on that verge of pulling off some upsets. He's taken a lot of these good players at the Hill recently. And then next up, you had Mike Davis beating Nate Frink 3-0, but Nate actually had a chance to win one, maybe 2 games there. Maybe he got nervous. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe he was just trying too hard because it's Mike Davis. But Nate definitely had a chance in that match. And it would have been cool to see what happened if he could have pulled off at least one game. Maybe, maybe then he could have pulled off the second game. I don't know. But it would have been cool to see what happens if he would have pulled out that first game like he should have. And he'll probably even tell you that he should have been up 1-0 in that match. So, Pat, I mean, just looking at those scores, man, what do you think about Eddie beating Barry and Mike beating Nate?
Both of those should have went the exact way that they went.
Agreed.
Back to you.
Agreed. We can move on. Brandon.
I thought Barry was going to beat Eddie.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally had 1 or 2 chances. He took one shot that I was sitting here screaming to myself, play safe, play safe, play safe. But he tried to play the hero shot and it bit him in the rear end, and Eddie ended up getting out on him. And just
A question about that shot. A question about that shot for you, Brandon. Would you say it's along the same lines of that shot that Runal had against Johnny Archer at the 30th anniversary? You know what I mean?
I do.
You're
I do.
screaming that he should have played safe, but evidently he shot that shot right. He shot it to make it, whereas Runal played defense.
He shot it to make it. He hung it in the pocket, and he shot Eddie into position where he could have just moved the ball off the rail in front of the pocket and left Eddie long. Where the shot with Runal, there was way more on the line. And 2, Runal had to hit a perfect safety against one of the top 5 players of all time. And Pat, you saw what I sent you. What happens when you shoot that shot? I mean, same kind of idea, except the shot with Runal had way more finesse, and he hit it so great. To where the one that Barry could have shot, he didn't even really have to do a lot with it. He just needed to move the ball off the rail and leave the cue ball there and leave Eddie tough. Instead, he went for the win.
Yeah.
Which, listen, I've done that 1,000 times myself, and you always look back and reflect, man, I wish I had done it this way. That's how you learn. That's how you get better. That's how you don't do it again. But, yeah, I thought Barry was going to win that match.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
With Nate and Mike Davis, I think nerves crept in because Nate had actually been playing very well all day. I mean, he really did. Nate's game is really coming up. So with all that being said, like you just said, Pat, what happened was supposed to happen.
Yeah, I mean, definitely no surprises there in that third round. Next up, we go to the loser side where we get to see the guy that y'all have been talking about, Ronald Bott, beating Larry Hughes 3-1, and Ronald played perfect this match. For Larry to get one game shows you that Larry can actually play, because I feel like that's the only game where he actually had a chance to even get to the table. Ronald, this was probably the best. This might have been the best one-sided match that we watched all day. And I say that because Larry just never had a chance. Like, in Hunter versus Hank, both guys played great.
Mm-hmm.
This match, Ronald played great. Larry just never had a chance. Like, I think he broke once, and then the other rack he got out. But Ronald beating Larry 3-1. Brandon, you were there. What did you think?
I think that, as far as Ronald and Larry, I mean, that might have been the best 3 games of 8-ball I've seen Ronald play.
Yeah.
He didn't have any accidental moves. He put the rock wherever it needed to be, and Larry, the one game he got, he looked like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that speaks a lot for Ronald, because I think Larry's a great player, especially when he gets going. Larry's the type of player that can really, really throw your game off because he is so fast. And when he gets going fast, it can really affect your pace of play.
Yeah.
It gets in your head. But it's not going to get in the head like a guy like Ronald.
Yeah. Pat, do you got anything to chime in about Ronald and Larry?
I was going to ask, did any of you notice how Ronald was playing all day?
Yeah, I thought he was playing hit or miss. Like, it seemed like he would play great at times, and then other times it just seemed like I don't know. It seemed like every time he got to the table, it was just weird setups.
Okay. I asked that question because the last time that we saw him play there, it felt like he was going to win. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He walked in. It felt like he was the guy to beat. So I didn't know if y'all felt that way this time, being on
He is
the 9 versus the smaller tables.
He is the exact opposite of most tournament players. When most tournament players lose in the first round or two, especially the first round of the A side, they will usually feel defeated. They won't care. They're like, oh, the road is too long. He gets better. He gets stronger because he's angry. Imagine that little angry guy just ripping through a loser's bracket, which we've seen him do 100 times. I swear he plays tougher in that part of the draw than he does if he were to go to the hot seat.
I
I'm
agree.
telling you, he does.
I agree with that. What you said. Also, Ronaldo's a lot better on diamond tables than he is on non-diamond tables.
That's true.
I think his game, out of all these players and all the guys that specifically finish in the money, Ronaldo probably plays like his game is probably the most different from diamond tables and non-diamonds out of everybody else in the top 8. I think some of these players like Mike Davis probably actually might play better on non-diamonds. Somebody like Hunter, it's probably not going to really affect him much. Jeff Abernathy probably plays better on non-diamonds, but Ronaldo by far has the biggest difference in games between diamond tables and non-diamonds. So I think that just affects him more than anything because he's not as sure about where the cue ball is going to go.
So strange because Brunswick's play. Well, these aren't Brunswicks; these are Gandys, except for one Brunswick. But Brunswick's and anything like it play, in my opinion, is so much easier, especially shooting the ball down a rail.
Well, I think too. Ronaldo's just one of these newer players that diamonds are just everywhere. That it's easier to play
That's
on.
true. There's more diamonds now than anywhere else.
There's probably a lot of players that have started playing pool in the last 10 years that prefer diamonds over non-diamonds.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. So let's move on to the Final Four winner side here. We have 2 matchups, obviously. Final Four winner side. Hunter White beating Eddie Little 3-2 and Mike Davis beating Javier Oliu 3-1. I think Hunter and Mike showed that they were the 2 best players, and once again they pulled through to play for the hot seat, second straight tournament. Both matchups are really good. They were really exciting to see. Pat, what do you think? I mean, those are 2 heavy matchups, man.
I think Hunter and Eddie should always go hill for the people, right? Eddie Little's game is one of those ones to where it really doesn't matter who you put in front of him. Could be Hunter White, could be Ronaldo, could be Mike Davis. I expect him to make it difficult for them, right? I expect him to be there at the end and give himself a chance to win. That's gonna be one that's gonna be real fun to go back and watch and see how that one played out. And then with Mike Davis and Javier, that's exactly how that game is supposed to go. I think the fact that Javier got a rack off of Mike Davis just speaks to how well Javier was playing all day as well.
Agreed.
To be able to get a rack and also place third. So definitely no shame. Even if Javier would have got 3-0'd by Mike, ain't no shame.
No.
No shame in that at all. So
Yeah,
no,
I was proud. I was proud of Javier getting a game there on Mike because we've seen him lose a few times, like 3-0 to one of the top heavy hitters. Brandon, what do you think?
It's going to break the internet one day when Mike Davis loses in the second round to somebody like me, you, Pat, or Javier, or whoever. I can't wait for that day. And I think it'll happen, just not anytime soon.
in 5 days.
Tell you what, Pat, you nailed it about Eddie. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Archer, Shane Van Boning, me, you. He is going to bring that same game, that same intensity every single time. I think it was just I know we've said this about 5 or 6 times in this podcast already. It's that 1 or 2 rolls that just get a hold of you and change the whole course of the set. And that's the biggest thing. And, congrats to Javier. But I actually think in a race of 3, Javier, he's probably a 20% favorite to win, but I believe in him. I believe that it's going to happen eventually. It is. I think he's going to hoist a trophy. It may not be in 2024, but 2025 could.
I think so. I think so as well. I think he can get one sometime soon, especially his game's on the rise. Out of all these players, that are cashing in these tournaments, Javier is definitely probably maybe got the steepest trajectory. Am I saying that right?
Buy low, sell high.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, he's probably growing the quickest and fastest out of all these players. Like, there's a lot of players that are going up, but I feel like
Yeah.
he's on the sharpest incline right now. So definitely keep your eye out on Javier. I mean, I'm telling everybody, no matter what tournament he's in, even if it's not a pool series tournament. Next matchup, though, we go to the hot seat. And once again, Hunter White, Mike Davis playing for the hot seat. I feel like these two guys are really solidifying themselves as the top two players on the pool series, the top two players in these tournaments.
Mhm.
And it's fun to watch them go head to head. And Mike Davis pulls out the hot seat 3-2. And what I think was actually a pretty well played match. They each kind of made a mistake and they kind of just worked out in Mike's favor, but definitely a match that needs to be watched. And Brandon, what do you think about the hot seat match?
I know you have a 750 and a 730 Fargo in the hot seat match. I understand that. But I'm still going to give these guys a hand clap for getting through this pool of piranha,
Yeah.
in which all 30 piranha in there want to eat those two the most. So I'm going to give those two a serious hand clap. And then, and I went back and I checked out some of the footage. There was one mistake by Hunter.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
both. I said that Hunter and Hank played one of the best matches of the day. I think the hot seat match was actually the best match on camera of the whole day. Hunter just hung up one ball in the hill game, and Mike just made him pay. You can't do that.
When they played last month in July, they played for the hot seat, and Mike beat them 3-0. So this one, it was a little closer this time. Pat, what do you think, man? I mean, I know you weren't there, but just knowing that those two heavyweights battled for the hot seat once again, what do you think?
If nothing crazy is happening, that's what the hot seat match is going to be.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? If those two are in the field, I won't say that's what it's going to be. That's what it's supposed to be, right? But Justin, I agree with that point. The fact that Hunter at least made the hot seat match competitive this time around is nice, but I don't know that it would have mattered. I think it just would have meant that Mike Davis would have had to play a couple extra games just to get to the championship and do what he did anyway. And it just speaks to, I was thinking about something lately this week. How many times do you hear in your local pool hall or when you're just kind of out shooting, you just sitting around with a group of people and you see somebody that's shooting very well and you hear somebody say like, "Oh man, that person's so good, man. They could play pro." And you're like, "Nah, big dog, they can't." Like
Oh, yeah.
there's just a different level of skill when you're talking about somebody who has or is currently playing at a professional level. And Mike Davis is somebody that I don't think right now he's playing at a professional level, but the fact that he has, like, I don't know how to put into words where he is right now, but it's so mind-boggling that the man has played better pool than this before, that he's
Oh, yeah.
gotten to the Moscone Cup. You know what I mean? Like that. If he's here, okay, I'm glad to be on the roster with that man. I love being able to watch him play. Hope to God to get to play him in one of these tournaments sometime soon, so I can get the best seat in the house to see what he does. I'm a fan. Sorry, Mike, I'm fanboying over you over here, but I'm just a fan. But I think if these two keep coming back, then we can keep expecting them to have the hot seat matches and probably the championships as well. Every now and again, you might have your Clay Davises, your Eddie Littles, your Justins, or even your surprises like Javier, who are on that upward trajectory that can upset some things. But these two are going to be Fedoring and SVBing for a little while, I think.
I think
I agree 100%.
so. If you go back and look at our Calcutta for this tournament, we had 3 guys go for the same amount, and that was Mike, Hunter, and Renal. They all 3 went for the same amount, and they're all 3 cashed. 2 of them played for the hot seat. Are they, and you talk about they could be Federer or Shane, whatever, but for for the pool series, are they like our Federer, Djokovic, and Nadal? Like, could those 3 guys be like, can they carry the pool series to like, fame and fortune, like what those 3 guys did for, men's tennis?
With a little bit of Andy Murray mixed in here and there.
Yeah, that can be Clay. We'll count that as Clay.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, it sure looks that way.
Yeah.
It looks like it could. That's a great cross reference.
And then can I be Andy Roddick and win one time and get a supermodel? No? Okay.
You definitely cannot have Brooklyn. Sorry.
There's if you walk upstairs right now, there's a photo of her hanging in my hallway.
Not creepy at all.
Well, it's signed. It's signed. It's nice.
Oh yeah, she lived in Matthew. She went to Butler, didn't she?
Yeah.
Man, we digress.
I've met her a few times. But what you're saying is you just killed my hopes on ever winning a pool series event and getting a supermodel. Now I'm fine with second place now then.
You know what, though, all kidding aside, that actually is a great cross reference because that's what it's starting to feel like. Now, two of those you got for me is like Federer and Nadal. Okay, like Djokovic and Federer. I still feel like Ronaldo would need to win a little bit more to put him in that exact category, which he can. You know, he gets into money enough. I'm actually still surprised he finished 7th, 8th.
They're also the only 3 players that were in this tournament that were 700 Fargo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I think you got some Djokovic and Federer in there, but Ronaldo's going to remind me of Nadal. He's always going to be in the mix, and he's always going to be a pain in your rear end.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if we're talking about top 3 guys based off of consistency, then I'd have to say that the third guy would be Clay. I'd have to say number 3 would be Clay because towards the earlier half of the year, he was the guy. He was the guy that was winning the tournaments or getting second, sometimes maybe third, but he was always like top 3, top 4, month in and month out.
Yeah, I think out of the first 4 tournaments, if I believe correctly, it was first, second, and third.
Right.
Not to mention winning the one last year at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And then who's to say that he doesn't catch himself a nice little hot streak right now before we get into the championship that's coming up in December? You know what I mean?
Oh,
I still never count Clay out or bet against Clay in anything.
I think it's coming. Number 1, he's too good. Number 2, he's too prideful.
Yeah.
You know, the guy has a heart the size of this room, just life in general. So no, I never count out Chachi ever.
Yeah.
It's more shark testosterone that makes his heart so large, but
What's that?
I said it's more so the bull shark testosterone that makes his heart so large, but
maybe so.
That's
bullshit.
a joke.
All right, guys, let's get back to talking about
these
stream matches here. We had the semifinal matchup next, obviously. Hunter White beating Javier 3-0. I think this goes back to Javier just sometimes can play these really good players and not get on the board. I don't know quite what it is. I feel like once he figures out how to get on the board against these guys, maybe he can figure out how to win, which is why I think it was so important for him to get one game on Mike. But Hunter beat him 3-0. I mean, Hunter played really good that match. We also, that match, the one game almost, we might have had a stalemate there at one point. It was kind of a weird situation. One of the strangest pool series racks that we have seen on the stream. Definitely go back and rewatch that. But Pat, what do you think when you just see the score of that match, man?
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be. I think to your point, it would be nice for Javier to get a rack, maybe even 2, if he can somehow find a way to get to the hill. I have him having a slightly better chance of being able to do that with Hunter, depending on how motivated Hunter may be at that point of the night. He's got some other things he's got on his mind going on after the match, But honestly, playing against Hunter is a lot like playing against Mike at our level. At this, when you're a couple levels down from that. So it would have been nice to see him put a little notch on there, but him getting beat by Hunter White 3-0 isn't that surprising.
Agreed. Brandon, what do you think about the semifinal matchup?
I think that, I'm not going to say Hunter beating him 3-0 is supposed to happen, but I think it was likely to happen after Mike Davis pretty much let the wind out of his sails. Because Javier might have missed 2 shots the entire day. Okay. Played incredible pool all day. Then he runs into MDJ, gets a little bit of a reality check. And, all your confidence, all your pride, everything you got going for you, when that gets, when that lets the air out of you, it can ripple. And I think that's what happened with Hunter. Now, yes, Hunter is absolutely supposed to win that, but I'm not sure about 3-0 because you got to remember, if it was win or break, I would say that. But Javier still gets at least 1 break in there, assuming he didn't win the lag. Okay, so I think a lot of that was long day. You just took a hard loss to Mike, and he might have just been let down there. But I'm not going to take anything away from Hunter. What was supposed to happen did happen.
Absolutely. And that leads us to the finals, the rematch of the hot seat match. Mike Davis, Hunter White. Hunter played in the finals of our last 8-ball tournament, like we have mentioned before, losing 5-3 to Renal. This time he loses 5-1 to Mike Davis. It just seems like Hunter, for some reason, just all of a sudden gets to that finals and can't quite pull it out. I mean, he's losing to strong players, though, and Mike really played perfect through the first 4 racks of this match. They kind of ended on a little bit of a, kind of needed Hunter to miss a ball there to win the last game. But Mike literally played perfect through the first, like I said, 70% of this match. And yeah, Hunter with another second place finish. I think this was a good finals to watch, though. Brandon, what did you think, man?
Mike was ready to go home. Mike was done. He knew what he had to do. He did it. I don't want to say I think Hunter kind of lost the hope in it, because I don't think a guy like Hunter does that. But I think a guy like Mike Davis, when he smells blood in the water, he just goes after you and after you and after you until it's over. And that's exactly what he did. Hunter's break was really not on in the finals.
Yeah.
He was dry breaking and leaving Mike dead.
Mike had one of the best breaks.
Yes,
making 4 balls. It did not get out that rack, though. Did not get out that rack.
Still can't figure that one out. But either way, I mean, Hunter's break was actually his enemy in that finals match.
100%.
And then, like I said, Mike was just taking advantage of the opportunities. You can't give a player in like Mike Davis an open game and expect him to make a mistake.
No.
Not when there's $1,000 on the line. If there was no money on the line, yeah, I could see him making a mistake, but not with $1,000+ on the line. Just not going to happen. So I'm not going to say this was supposed to happen, but I think Mike winning was supposed to happen. Absolutely, especially the way he played all day. To go completely undefeated through
a strong field.
Probably, honest to God, the wackiest tournament you've had the whole year. Yeah. Even wackier than the bar box event.
Yeah, we like that, though.
That's what makes it great. Yeah. I mean, you got guys like, Nate Frank getting what, 1 out of the money, 2 out of the money?
Yeah, 1 out of the money.
1 out of the money?
Lost to Clay to get in the money.
I mean, my gosh, there's probably 7, 8 to 10 people behind him that would bet him anything, anytime. But he goes, a great run all the way to 1 out of the money. That's what makes this tournament great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Pat, what's your thoughts on the finals, man?
You brought up a point, said that Hunter White got second place last time on the bar boxes against Runal 5-3, and then he lost this one 5-1 against Mike. So the question that I would have, which I'll ask after I make this, I'll ask it. Was Hunter White motivated? And I asked that question because I know for a fact that against Runal, he was not motivated. He wanted to split. He had his reasons why, which is perfectly fine. But I know that he did not want to play that match. He was just ready to go. He just kind of agreed to play because the fans wanted to see it. I was over there in his ear like, come on, man, y'all have to play this match, whatever it was. Was he motivated to play against Mike?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
I do too.
I think he was. He seemed pretty upset this time when he lost.
Okay. Interesting. And for obvious reasons, that's the reason why I asked that question. But I think that it doesn't really matter how motivated you might be, because with Mike Davis, this is this man's job. This is his job.
Yeah, this
Hunter's as well.
Yeah.
But Mike is that dude who, he's got the 20 years of experience on this job. You know what I mean? He's been playing pool since, your boy was in knee-high diapers or whatever they call them. So I'm always a fan of, if it's the finals, you want to see it go hill.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Mike Davis, Hunter White, it would have been great for that to go hill. Whoever pulls it out, they win. It's an exciting match. Everybody's happy except for the second place person, of course. But for it to be 5-1, to Brandon's point, I've come to learn now that Mike is one of those players. The second he smells blood or sees an opening, it's time to clock in. It's time to clock in and get to work and get this money and go home and get out of here and not leave a chance for anybody to do anything except for what I want to do on this pool table.
Absolutely. I mean, Mike definitely, he's favored to win these tournaments for a reason, and it'll be interesting to see maybe if he can become our first 3-time in a row winner, our first three-peat winner, I guess you could say, in our next tournament, which will be September 7th, back at Irish Q, non-ball this time, though, on the non-footers. So that'll be interesting. That'll be points event number 7, obviously. So we'll be getting closer to the finals, which if you look at the points now, we have a new leader in first place now, Mike Davis, passing Clay at the top of the board now. Third place for Null, fourth place Hunter. They're kind of spreading themselves out from the rest of the field. You got a good little drop off from fourth to fifth place being Eddie Little. And then to round out the top 10, you have Javier Oliu, Justin Clark, Jeff Abernathy, Jason Blackwell, and David Anderson. That's a pretty good top 10. All strong players. You scroll down a little bit further, 17th place, you have Brandon Mullis. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, 22nd place, you have Pat Dixon. So we're all still in the top 32, which means we can qualify for the Tour Championship, which would be 2,500 added. And then, of course, the top 3 make money at the end of the year. So Mike, Clay, and Ronald right now are sitting good to get a little extra bonus right before Christmas. And like we said, September 7th at Irish Q, we have our next event coming up. And then the week after that, we would take our first trip to Brass Tap in Raleigh for a non-ball event, just a normal non-ball event, 32 players, where we play races to 2 out of 3 sets. $1,000 added, though. Pat, I know you're really looking forward to that tournament.
Cannot wait. The next 2 weeks are going to be so much fun. Can't wait. Can't wait to get back to Irish Q to play the non-ball on the non-foots. And God, I can't wait to get out to Brass Tap in Raleigh. So excited. Cleared my whole calendar for this thing.
It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Brandon, what do you think about the schedule coming up, man? And what do you think about the points with Mike overtaking Clay?
I think that's pretty much going to be par for the course. I think at the end of the year, Mike's going to be able to buy something nice for Katie with that little bit of extra pocket cash. Plus, I mean, you got to automatically favor him to win the one at the end of the year anyway.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, good for the pool series. Thanks to Josh Padron for getting this, kind of helping get this thing going up in Raleigh. This pool series deserves to branch out and go to other great spots. So I won't be there. I will be working. However, I will be tuned in for sure. I'm watching every single match and loving every minute of it. And can't wait to see what the future holds. But, you know, with everything we got going on, nothing but great things.
And we might be adding one more new place to the schedule before the year's over. So just going to go ahead and throw that out there. We'll be announcing that soon. But for now, the August 24th event at Irish Q is done. It's in the books. We can put it aside now. Points event number 6, Mike Davis with the win. Pat, what's your final thoughts on the tournament that we just had?
See you soon, Mike. No, great tournament. Shout out to Mike for winning another one. Shout out to the top 3. Shout out to Javier for a fantastic tournament. Way to cash at the 3rd place, buddy.
Yes. Brandon, what do you think, man?
Mike Davis, you are that dude. Nate Frank, keep coming, keep playing hard. Can't wait to see what the rest of the year's got in store.
And I'll just close this out by making sure y'all go check out AZ Billiards and read the awesome write-up that they did of the tournament. They've been doing a really good job lately of, mentioning the pool series and getting us out there. So definitely appreciate the people over at AZ Billiards. And as always, I'm Justin Clark. That's Brandon Mullis. That's Pat Dixon. Y'all check out the pool series on Facebook. Check out the pool series on YouTube. Check out the TPS reports on YouTube. Check out the TPS reports on Spotify. And we'll check you later.
Until the next time.